In this Math 30-3 trigonometry video, we'll be reviewing cosine law and sine law, focused on how to use formulas to determine unknown sides and angles in non-right triangles. There's a lot of learning packed into this video. If you'd like to slow it down, you can choose the gear icon, Settings, and change the playback speed to a larger number. You may remember from previous math courses that we used Pythagorean theorem and trigonometric ratios, sometimes referred to as SOHCAHTOA, to solve for missing angles and sides in right triangles. Right triangles have a 90-degree angle indicated by a square like this.
The triangles we'll work with in Math 30-3 are not right triangles, so we need to learn new formulas to solve for missing sides and angles.
These are the formulas we'll be using. We'll be showing an example of how each of them is used. As you can see, we can use the cosine law to solve for unknown sides, and we can use a different version of the cosine law formula for unknown angles. The sine law is also used to solve for unknown sides and angles.
You'll want to make sure the scientific calculator you're using is in degree mode. If you decide to use your phone's calculator, keep in mind you may have to hit buttons in a different order. It is generally a little difficult to use a phone calculator.
Let's start with being able to recognize which sides are across from which angles in a triangle. You had some practice with this in right triangles in previous math courses. We label the corners of triangles with capital letters. You can use ABC for our formulas. The sides of a triangle are labeled using lowercase letters. We must label side A correctly so that it is across from angle A. The same goes for the other sides and angles.
We're going to start off using cosine law to solve for an unknown side. In the next video, we'll focus on how to know which formula to choose. For now, we'll tell you which formula to use with each triangle.
You'll notice we've left this triangle unlabeled. We recommend you use ABC to label. But how do we know which angle should be A, B, C? Well, you'll notice which angles are across from each side. So there's actually several correct ways to label. We could label this ABC, which would mean side A equals 8.7 centimeters and side C equals 21.6 centimeters.
Or, if we label it ABC, side B equals 21.6 centimeters.
Or we could label ABC,
or ABC,
or ABC,
or ABC.
Okay, that's enough. Let's just use this labeling. You can be confident that the most important part labeling a triangle is that angle A must be opposite or across from side A, angle B from side B, and angle C from side C. If we decide to label our triangle ABC, then the unknown side we're looking for is side A. Therefore, we'll choose the formula for solving for side A. To substitute into this formula, side B equals 21.6 centimeters, side C equals 8.7 centimeters, and angle A equals 30 degrees. Let's type this into our calculator, making sure to use brackets properly.
But we're not done. The unknown side A isn't 216.76 centimeters long.
In fact, that's what A squared equals. If we want to solve for A in this equation, we'll do the inverse operation of squaring. We'll square root. Square rooting A squared will isolate A. If we perform an operation on one side of the equation, we do the same to the other side of the equation. When rounded to the nearest tenth, side A equals 14.7 centimeters. When using cosine law to solve for an unknown angle, we have three choices, just like we did when solving for sides. We'll choose which one based on how we label the triangle.
So if we decide to label this triangle ABC, then B is the unknown angle we're trying to determine. Substitute 5 for A, 6 for C, and 7 for B.
We can type the numerator, top part of the fraction, into the calculator, and then the denominator, bottom part of the fraction. We now have that cosine x equals 12 over 60, or 0.2. Angle x does not equal 0.2, cosine x equals 0.2. So we must use the second function button, then the cosine button on our calculator, followed by 0.2 to calculate angle x. When rounded to the nearest whole number, angle x equals 78 degrees.
When using sine law to solve for an unknown side, it looks like we have a formula that uses two equal signs. Actually, we'll choose based on our given information and how we label the triangle. When we are using sine law to determine an unknown side, we'll use the formula with side measurements over sine of their angles.
Since we've labeled this triangle so that side C is our unknown side we're trying to determine, we know that we will use C over sine C. So how do we determine that we should set that equal to A over sine A?
You'll notice that while we know angle B is equal to 30 degrees, the side opposite, side B, is unknown. We need to choose the angle-side pair that both the angle and its side opposite are both known.
Once we substitute 110 degrees for angle C, 9.8 for side A, and 40 degrees for angle A, we'll try to solve for side C. You'll notice that x is being divided by sine 110. Just like we did in cosine law when we tried to solve for our unknown variable, we'll do the inverse operation of dividing by sine 110. We'll multiply by sine 110. Multiplying x that's being divided by sine 110 by sine 110 will isolate x. If we perform an operation on one side of the equation, we do the same to the other side of the equation. When we type this into our calculator, notice we are not using the second function button. Second function is only used when solving for an angle. When we round to the nearest tenth, x equals 14.3 meters.
When we are using sine law to determine an unknown angle, we'll use the formula with sine of their angles over their side measurements.
When using sine law to determine unknown angles, we can only solve for angles who are across from a known side. This is why we can't choose to solve for angle C first, so we'll solve for angle B. Since we've labeled this triangle so that angle B is our unknown angle we're trying to determine, we know we will use sine B over B. Remember, we'll choose side A and angle A since both the angle and its side opposite are known.
Once we substitute 16 for side B, 43 degrees for angle A, 12 for side A, we'll try to solve for angle B. Sine B is being divided by 16. The inverse operation of dividing by 16 is to multiply by 16. Multiplying sine B divided by 16 will isolate sine B. We'll perform this operation on both sides of the equation. Angle B does not equal 0.9093311,468. That's what sine B equals. So we must use the second function button, then the sine button on our calculator, followed by 0.9093311,468 to calculate angle B.
Hot calculator tip, instead of typing in 0.9093311,468, you can press the second function button, then press the negative symbol. This will tell the calculator to use the last answer you calculated, saving you from having to type the entire number out.
When we round to the nearest whole number, angle B equals 65 degrees.